And I'd like to start the meeting by acknowledging we're on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis people whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. So that will move to adoption of the agenda. There is a couple of additions that we have. Two scheduled delegations. 2.1 and and I think everybody's got the updated one with Michael on the development permit and Jennifer Churchill on ANCA. And we also need to add an item under confidential item 17.1, personnel under section 17 of the FOIP agreement, or FOIP Act. Anything else? Councilor Danaka?
I would like to add, a request from the Native Friendship Center regarding partnering with them in having Theo Fleury here on October 1st. The next council meeting is the 24th, but I think they would probably like to know ahead of time if we are willing and or able to assist them before then.
Okay. Do we have anything formal to?
I just was handed this, just like now. I mean, I can pass it around, everybody have a quick look. There's not enough for everybody, but
Just enough we can make a,
yes.
okay. So we can put that under new business 8.4. Okay, so we have those, I guess, 4 items from the original agenda. All in favor? Carried. Oh, I see,
Who made the motion?
I did,
Okay.
to adopt the agenda with those changes, sorry. Yeah. All right, moving then to our scheduled delegations. We'll start with Michael. Come on up. Michael, when you come up, there's a little button that activates your mic there, if you could use that so we can hear you and the people behind will hear you better. And you can sort of give your name and who you're representing, and we'll go from there.
Okay. My name is Michael Coutre. I'm one of the owners of a company called Strong Roots Group Home. It's also referred to as Strong Roots Group Home Program and Strong Roots Inc. So just depending on, the actual company is Strong Roots Inc. And then there's a couple different variations because of the programming, but it's all the same company. We currently have a licensed residential facility in Greward, Alberta, and it's currently operating. Right now there's 4 children that are in our care there, and it's a fully staffed facility. There's regulations, so if you have 1 to 3 people, you need 1 staff. Above that, you need to have 2 staff on it all times. So that's how we operate that facility currently, and that started in May. So because of this, and the fact that we're an accredited body, because of the accreditation, it allowed us to apply for a proposal with the government on Alberta Purchase Connection website, and that's where all the government proposals, I'm sure you're aware, but that's where all the proposals go. So we were granted that. July 11th was the date, and we were granted that we got moved to the next round of that. And then on August 27th, we had it was kind of like an interview and kind of a presentation. It's the last part of the proposal process. So I'm waiting to hear that back. I should hear back from that like this week, whether or not we got that, but there's a really good chance that we did, because they said the proposal went really well and it was very authentic, and they had a lot of good things to say, and the only people that get to do those presentations are the successful proponents of the proposal. So I don't know how many there were. There might have been a few. I'm not sure. But for our area, there was the north area. I think they were looking for 248 spots, and we only applied for 4. So there's maybe Grand Prairie. I don't know what they did with the other funding or anything like that. But so what I'm here for today is the next step of that process is to extend our license or get another license for this new facility. And it's the exact same process that we did in Gruard to get that facility licensed. And part of one of the standards is we have to get a change of use permit. And I was talking to Brian earlier, he mentioned that this could take a couple months, which is fine. The government proposal said that it's supposed to start October 1st, but as I mentioned, we had our presentation the 27th, so even if I was to submit it that day, then we still wouldn't have enough time. So they're going to be aware of that, and they're totally on board with. They're aware we have to do these certain steps to get this other place open, and it's unlikely that you would just have a place sitting there open already for the proposal and not doing anything. So I don't think it'll affect anything with the proposal negatively, like to follow, to go through the steps that you guys have. So far for this process, we have submitted the development permit, which is highlighted as change of use. Not really a clear place where this falls on the development permit. So what I put it under was institutional because it's a government contract. So, and it might be considered commercial, it might be considered residential, because at the end of the day, this is going to be a home for youths, and basically we're not taking any clients that are younger than like 4 or 5, because that changes you have to have all these different safety codes for babies and stuff like that. So our facility is just youth, like 4 or 5 to 17. So they would come into the home and be familiarized with the home, and we would allow them to pick their room, and they kind of have a room over, next few weeks or something, they can decorate how they want, and this is their place. It's amazing how much of a difference that makes to a kid. Like the one in Gruard, that girl was just like, oh, I finally have my own space. She's been couch surfing for a couple of years. So just in terms of that, it's a very unique opportunity to be a part of, and I'm pretty excited about it as well. So with the place in High Prairie, it's owned by Seaham, Wallam, and Ali, and a part of the development permit application required that we have a letter, and that's already submitted. Also, there was, I think, a site plan and something to do with oil wells. It can't be 25 meters from an oil well. So that was submitted, even though it doesn't, it's just, they have, the policies are policies, and they have to have these documents in place, and I'm aware of that. So I submitted all that to Colin McKenna. I was kind of hoping you'd share that information with you guys here tonight, but I don't know if you've seen anything on it yet or not. But so the fee was paid as well, and the business license was also paid for that, to hopefully move this forward to the next step. So yeah, that's basically why I'm here. I'm asking for permission to have that move forward to the next step, if that's something that you guys are agreeable with, and we can, like Brian mentioned before, get the community input on it as well. When we were doing this with Big Lakes, they had a sign posted for, I think, 30 days, just kind of saying that it was a change of use happening this day. Any issues, and we replied to that and left that contact information on there. So probably be a similar process, but yeah, so I think that's kind of the idea of what the program is and why I need the development permit. Now this contract, it's not like stuck to High Prairie, but we're set up here. Our kids go to school here. We'll be here for quite a while, for the next foreseeable future, because all our family's here in the area between here and Gruard. So, we don't really want to like put effort into another community that we're not part of, and there's some benefits to this place as well. There's a ton of grocery shopping that happens, right, every week. There's a bunch of recreation things kids are a part of. Those are all expenses that need to be paid from the programming. Clothing shopping and just even use of facilities. So there's a lot of things that would benefit the economy in the town as well. Because, I mean, let's say you get some things out of town, but you can't get everything. And like we've experienced this firsthand after running it. You need things before you can do anything. You can't always plan a trip. So like, we end up supporting our local community quite a bit, and we plan to continue to do that. And that's some of the benefits of it. I'm totally open to questions or anything like that. I brought my laptop here just because if there's any technical questions, the standards are 31 standards long, and then there's governance and management, there's 401 youth. Those are also standards that have to be followed. So a lot of the information I'm not going to have memorized, but fairly familiar with it, so I have it here in case there's any questions. But yeah, so that's the end of my introduction and my presentation, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that. And again, as we were talking, like I said, what I understand, you want to change from it's residential and making sure we can change that land use bylaw, which we'd have to advertise and get permission to, any input from public on that, for sure. And there is a process involved in that, for sure. Yeah. But with that, any questions at this point about the project?
So basically, if I'm understanding, the concept is similar to a group home setup.
It is a group home,
It is.
exactly that, yeah.
And you have 4 spaces in this home?
Yeah, there's 5 rooms, so instead of like, saying, let's have 2 kids per room, let's put 10 in there, like, we wanna have one as an office, 1 child per room. So like, we're trying to make this into a home, we're not trying to just like, it's not, the business is gonna do well on its own, so we don't have to cram people in there, but that's the plan. 4 beds and plan to keep 4 people, 4 clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
And exactly where is this located?
So the place is 4504 Rainwood Place, and it's just near the tennis courts, in behind the Smears home there. I don't know if you know Dean Fleck, the $5 man there. Just kidding. Right beside his place. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just next door to him.
Okay. Well, I mean, with Yak being sort of up in the air as to what's happening with that, and the last council meeting we had, MLA Sinclair joined us via Zoom, and he's got no answers as to what's happening there either. So I'm sure there's a need for this. So basically, you're asking town council to see if we can rezone that as institutional or residential, whatever fits that particular application of this facility, and then you can move forward with the rest of your application.
Yeah, and one of the things that's like, so not anybody can just fill this out and do it. One of the prerequisites to even get a license, because it's a group home, but they call it a residential facility license,
Right.
So that's what they technically call it. But part of the things with it is you need a contract from some body. So whether that's delegated First Nation agencies, could be them. In this case, it's the government contract that we'll be using. So you need someone to say, hey, we're gonna 100% use this facility before they'll give you a license. So because we got that, granted that contract from the government, then that's what we plan to do there. We've also had like a crazy amount of interest. Like there's an insane need. Us personally, like as a company, we're only going to have the 2 homes because I don't want to grow it any bigger than I can handle you know, then if you get, if things happen, you don't know the kids, or there's a neglected situation where you're not aware of what's going on. So we don't want that kind of thing to happen. We want to run a good program and we want to have, you know, not too many things going on. But we got, like, Whitefish had contacted us asking us if we have another bed, and we're like, we don't. So there might even, like, I think the government tries to take youth that are from the area if they can, so that they're closer to family. And some of the things we do, maybe you're not aware of, like, I know there's a lot of negative things that happen maybe in the cities with group homes and stuff, but this is 100% our program and we're in control of it. So, like, because it's indigenous in nature, we have, like, all of our clients that we have now, they'll participate in their home activities, like for their powwows and different things like that. So we help them with that too. So if we have this one in High Prairie and there's people here local, then we'll be putting them in local events as well to be, you know, stay with their home community. And they're growing up, maybe not with their grandparents or somebody, but at least maybe they're down the street. I don't know. Like, so that's kind of the hope, is that we can focus on having youth that are from this area that are displaced for whatever reason. There's an unlimited number of reasons why youth are not able to live in their homes. So, but that's kind of answers the question, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Martins?
Michael, thank you for coming. It is a unique opportunity. It's very cool sounding. So do you already have clients out, like, ready for this new place?
So we don't have any clients for the new place, but part of the contract is it's the government's responsibility to try to place clients with us. So we can set restrictions to, like, you know, if there's like extremely violent 17-year-old, I'm gonna have to say no, because we're not facilitating that. I don't want to bring, even though that kid needs a place too, like, there's kids that we can help that are on a path where they're not so far off that it's like gonna be a lot of work to get them back to. There's kids that just basically are like my kids, or they just need a home. They want to go to school. They want to participate in games. Those are the kids that we want to try to help. So the government is in charge of filling those spots, and, like, the contract is, whether it's empty or not, they have to fulfill the contract whether they're empty or not. And they have a special rule where if it's like less than 80% full, then they come and, like, kind of figure out, like, they send someone, a task team, to figure out, like, why are we not giving them their full. Like, they only put 2 youth in our home. They're gonna come after a while and say, like, why aren't we utilizing the space we're paying for it? Like, you know. So that's kind of how it works. So the other one is up to us, because it's not based on any contract. So we're free to, we have some kids from Sturgeon Lake in there. We have one girl from Whitefish. So this one, though, is going to be, the government will be saying, here's some of our kids that are in our care, and they'll be looking for placement.
You're talking about Alberta Child Services.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is, you talked about rezoning, like the, you know, land use changing from residential to something else. When will you know what the status you're looking for, commercial, industrial, institutional? When will you know what that changed?
Well, I already do. What I put on there was institutional, because I already submitted the development permit, and all it said on there was change of use, check mark, and then it asked for, like, what it would be considered, and I put institutional because, like, this is a staff facility, and I feel that it is somewhat like institutional in a way. Like, we're trying to make it as homey as we can, but there is staff there, and some of the things they do too is they keep daily records and track logs of each child, and they have a binder of each child. The staff just fills out everything, like, and it's not just incidents, it's like good things, right? We want to keep records for them. We've been taking pictures as well, so that, like, as they grow up, they have memories from, you know, that they went to this place, or we took kids to the West Edmonton Water Park and stuff, like West Edmonton Water Park. So we have pictures from those experiences for their file, and then I think at some point they get all those and they get to keep those. So, yeah.
Thank you. And you actually, that's my next question. So I imagine there's a live-in caretaker. You mentioned 4 rooms. Where is the caretaker going to live?
So there's no caretaker, there's no living caretaker. There's just like 3 shifts. So workers come in and they leave. So like there'll be weekends is kind of different, but like during school, there's you don't have to have 2 people there the whole time because they're in school. But let's say for the weekend, for example, we would have 3 shifts, like a week evening shift, morning shift, and a night shift. And so we have people on staff, and nobody stays at the home. Like, I don't know if some people do that. I don't think those are licensed. Like, if you're having a license in a accredited group home, I never read anywhere where you're allowed to sleep at the house. So I hope nobody's doing that. But you don't know, like how people run their business and they're not oversight. They don't have a accrediting body looking after what they're doing. Then I don't know what happens there. But like for us, there won't be anybody like staying there, sleeping there, or anything like that. They'll be just fully staffed, and then in the morning that person leaves, the next staff comes in, and we're trying to keep it to the same staff so that the kids become familiar with who they're working, become familiar with the staff, and feel more comfortable there. So.
Okay, sorry, are you renting or leasing, or do you own this place?
So this place is owned by CC, she's here, and our CHAM, sorry, and we're renting it from them. And so the contract is guaranteed 3-year contract. So we're renting it until, like, let's say a year down the road, and we have to do something different, then we'll. The intention is, if everything goes well, is that we could continue to rent the place and then keep going with the contract kind of thing. If something that we can't foresee happens, then at that time we have to address what we're going to do or how we're going to combat that. I mean, if a year or 2 from now and they want to sell the place, then we have an opportunity to buy it as well. So, but in the meantime, the upkeep of the place, any kind of like fixing and all that, that's going to be done by our company, because I don't want to put that on them, just because there's regular little things like if the deck board needs to be replaced or appliances or something need to get fixed. I do a lot of that myself. So I also have a master's in electrical. So I do quite a bit of like my own things. But yeah, that's pretty well how it is right now. And the letter for using and permission to use it was also part of the development permit, and it was submitted as well too.
And so I know you paid your license fee and submitted when did you submit your development permit?
Just last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know you mentioned the address, 4504 what again?
Redwood Place.
Thank you, Michael, that's everything.
Yep.
All right, thank you. No other questions? Oh,
I just have one more question. Based on what you said, that you'll have like 3 staff members depending rotation, morning, afternoon.
2 staff at a time, yeah.
Right. So are these staff also their caseworkers, or is that separate to this?
So each child has their own caseworker that they're assigned, and that'll be a separate thing from what we're doing. Our staff would be considered child care workers, like under labor standards, they would be falling under like residential care, child care workers. And they have to take a certain amount of training by the time, like after 3 months, everyone has to have their first aid. We're giving them, they assist suicide course, and there's like I think there's Indigenous awareness course that some staff will be taking depending on the clients. So some of the things about the business will be kind of like decided when we see what kind of clients we have, what the ages are. Like I can't say, oh, I'm going to put them all in this because I don't know how old they are if they want to do that,
Right.
So there's a certain amount of things that we are going to try and keep going with the home, like structured wise. All the meals are planned, and they have like an actual like food menu and stuff, so you can see what's going to be for supper and but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much I would think so.
Cause I mean, I worked with the group home in Rycroft for a couple years, so it's very similar to what your proposal is, other than that we were the client's caseworker and dealt with all of their other caseworkers and stuff, but I mean, I understand what you're saying and what you're trying to accomplish, so hopefully we can help you out there.
We're running a little behind, so do you have anything quick? Because, yeah,
I was just, we have to get input anyway, just to make the process smoother. Have you talked, either yourself or the owners, do they know the neighbors are in what's the word, in agreement?
I talked to the owners and they're in agreement. One of the concerns was like, is there gonna be damage to the property and stuff? Since we've had the one open in Brewer, we haven't had anything. There was one handrail that was old where the bracket broke off, but I don't think even that was one of the kids, and I had that replaced right away. But other than that, I mean, we haven't had any damage. There hasn't been like issues with kids where they're upset and breaking stuff, or so we're trying to keep the environment conducive to them so that they're not going to be in that state and not be triggered and things like that. Our staff, we want them to be caring and kind and whatnot to the clients. So I haven't talked to the neighbors beside us about it. I kind of wanted to, get a little bit more along further in the process kind of thing before I brought it up to them, and just make sure we're going to go forward with it. So however you guys want to do that, I'm open to take the next step. And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do next. I think it might be in your end, I'm not sure, but.
yeah, I think it sounds like it's in our end if you've applied, and then, so we'll look at getting that, seeing what we can do to get it going, and we have a company that helps us with those land use bylaws and get their feedback and that kind of stuff. But, so yeah, thank you very much for coming in and explaining your project. It sounds very interesting. So, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, our next delegation is Jennifer. Thanks for coming down.
Oh, well, thanks for having me back.
And you've been here, so you know the routine.
I know the routine,
Yeah.
you bet. So I have 3 things to talk to council about. Thanks for inviting me back. The first thing is the tourism initiative. I came a few weeks ago, we chatted, you asked me to come back once Brian was here and if you had some time to think about it. So I'm gonna divide my 15 minutes into 3 sections of 5, and so I'm gonna go a little bit quickly, slow me down if I'm going too fast. So tourism delegation, just to remind you, when we came and spoke last time, that is a 5-year plan that your tourism operators and the tourism society will go regional, and there's different steps every year what that would look like. Just as a reminder, we're asking for $2 per capita to kind of start the first year. You have this in the proposal from last time. The first year, all of the tourism operators from the town of High Prairie will get a free pass into the society. Within that proposal we handed in last time in the PowerPoint we talked about, there's the fees, but then there's also the services. The services every single year that this tourism society will have expands every year until we get exactly like Peace River, Mackenzie County, the other areas in the north. And then as the years progress, they're going to ask for your tourism operators to have a buy-in, a membership fee, and then eventually it increases by 5 cents a year to kind of cover the cost of inflation. The town of High Prairie, if you choose to buy in, will have a board member that sits on that board. The name will be changed then, that all will come from that board. And again, it's completely taken from the Peace River, Mackenzie County, Grand Prairie kind of region idea with the Regional Tourism Society. So last time I did the whole presentation, the whole pitch, and you guys wanted some time to think about it. And so I don't know if you have any questions after we talked about it last time about the Regional Tourism Society.
Don't see it.
Okay,
Just
perfect.
watch it.
Okay, and then the second thing I came to do last time, but we decided to wait until Brian was back, is every year ANSA does uh, we look at our priorities, we look at what we've done, and then we realign our strategic plan, and every member of ANSA gets to, put there's a point system to how that kind of works. Brian is your guys' representative on ANSA, and he asked me, since I was coming in anyways, to kind of give a brief overview of what ANSA has done and some of the things that we're looking for, so that you guys can have a conversation either tonight or a different day, so he could use your feedback when he allots the Town of High Prairie's points within ANSA. So I've been with ANSA for just over a year, and this first bit has been working quite a bit on building relationships. It's been actually one of my favorite jobs I've ever had, to be honest, but some of it has been, we have so many different groups. We've met with housing authorities, with watershed groups, different communities groups such as library systems, community futures. Actually, our region has a lot of different groups. And so lots of it was learning who everybody is and what they do. Majority of my time, to be honest, is people will come to me with some item of advocation. Hey, we need a letter of support, or we're trying to find this. And actually, we have that already existing in the area. We're just connecting the dots to different people. Have you met so-and-so? This person does this. This person has this program. They need somebody to work with. Lots of that, because that was the time spent in building those regional relationships. It's just been kind of lining up the things that we already have. We've been doing lots of connecting across the board. There's lots of grants that come across my email. There's a CD program. They were looking for different partners, pass on the information to our executive staff and all of the ANSA membership. Lots of it has been doing some of those things. So it's sort of like a liaison across the whole region. If I have an idea what anybody's looking for and you have somebody send you an email, you can kind of move towards them. We've met with several different ministers, Department of Highways, kind of as a whole group where we could kind of voice our concerns, etc. We've written several different letters for lots of different regional applications, healthcare applications, those things of the sort. But the two things that we've been working the most on is this regional tourism application, because it was number one in our priorities when the board did the priority last time. But also we've been doing quite a bit of mental health and addiction application and research for the area, and that's number 3 that we'll talk about afterwards. Amending in between. We're doing 3 regional studies. These regional studies will be shared to all of the different members of ANSA, but they also will lead to further grants that we could take the studies, take the data from, and then apply for different regional grants. We are right now doing a tourism opportunity assessment, which lines up with our tourism regional regionalization, but there's also a ton of like the TGP, SCOP, all those other different programs right now that are available for tourism. So if you have a study to prove what you need and those other sorts of things, they come align into place. Mental health and addictions need assessment, which applies to the second area that we're doing. We're taking a really good look at what services we have, what services do some side of ANSAs have, what side of services do some of us don't have, what services are we needing, data and those sorts of things. And the third is the regional workforce and business attraction study. Grand Prairie County did something similar, and then they were able to do a 4-year project region-wide that talks about attracting businesses, retaining workers, all those other sorts of things, because we're sort of modeling after that kind of an idea. So that in 4 minutes kind of describes what I've been doing all year. And so there's a few things that are on the go. At our last meeting, Brian brought up, that there's the town of High Prairie would like some assistance with an application with YAC. I'm going to work eventually with the CEO up here to kind of work up what he's been doing and some of the things that I've done a little bit of research myself to kind of put together and organize some sort of an application. We have a meeting hopefully soon with the regional RCMP to talk about dog handling positions, as well as some of the other different sorts of regional concern that every community on this area has has a stake in. So yeah, those are some of the things that are on the horizon. So eventually, the mayor will need to do a activity of homework piece of sorts where he's going to rank some of the items that were listed on our strategic plan of concerns that the whole region have. I'm going to kind of give a list you guys can think about and give some feedback or ask some questions later. And so when Brian does the ranking activity on behalf of the town of High Prairie, that gets all kind of sorted with all the other members of ANSA, and it kind of gives me a direction of what some of the priorities are. So we have the recruitment and retention of healthcare professionals, develop tourism and cultural tourism opportunities, upgrades to the North Alberta road system, increasing the rail service for movement of goods, addressing limited resources for housing, which there are grants for and different sorts of things, but we can talk about that later. Attract residents and businesses, seek solutions and supports for the homeless, improve rural water supply and air quality, seek solutions to mental health and addictions crisis, diversification of industry and alternate energy products, promotion of regional development opportunities, lobby for the maintenance of Highway 686, increase access to internet and cell coverage, and build capacity for emergency response, and working towards a new model delivery service with AHS. That's something else that ANSA's been working on since this has been developed, is they, as of August 31st, had applications for the regional health boards and also the Indigenous health boards. We have been advocating for some of our members of ANSA and from this region to be put onto those boards, and so that's something else that we have been kind of working on. And so that's just some of the things that came from our strategic plan. That's what kind of helped guide where we go in the next year. I think I did that in 5 minutes too, didn't I? I did good. Okay,
You're doing great.
right? All right, number 3 is the Mental Health and Addiction Symposium. I had been in conversation with your CEO earlier. A letter kind of came forward, but we are planning it for October 2nd. It's already booked, and we've got the LNP grant where everybody was to contribute. So we did a little bit different with the town of High Prairie. We had a meeting before and then something in the in-between. So the letter for you guys is coming after we've kind of got the LNP grant. When we were doing the mental health and addiction research, we started collecting a list of the names of the people and the organizations that provide mental health and addiction services. I was a teacher for a long time. I wish somebody would have asked me, said, hey, this education crisis, you do it every day. What do you kind of think? And so that's where we started from. It was interesting when we were talking to the mental health and addiction crisis workers, whether they be on reserve, off reserve, privatized, different organizations, work for Alberta Health Services, etc. One of the things that they asked for was communication with each other, and they weren't entirely too sure what other supports were in the region. Everybody is working in silos, but that's kind of very similar to what happens in every industry in the North, isn't it? And so this mental health and addiction symposium, we are going to be inviting 80 organizations, 80 workers, 80 people who work and deliver programs right to people in the North Central region, and we're going to get them together in a room. We have some amazing speakers lined up, and our consultants who are doing our research project are going to be there, and we're going to have breakout groups, conversations about mental health and addiction, ways for them to network with each other, to learn about what other services exist in the North Central, lunch, etc. So we have the LNP grant. Everybody who is a member of ANSA has already said that they would either support us in kind or with a cash donation. And so we were able to get that all covered, and we can have a chat with what that looks like for the town High Prairie afterwards. But it's kind of already a go, and with everybody kicking in something and then the grant covering the next, it was actually really affordable and really reasonable. I think I did it. I think I covered all 3 things. I did it. So that's, if anybody has any questions for me about all of that I just dumped on your plate.
Councillor Danaka.
This symposium on, where is this?
Slave Lake.
Okay.
Slave Lake on October the 2nd. The MLA will be there, and we're hoping there'll be other people there as well. we're really looking forward to this report that comes out of it. That'll be a big piece. It'll be, have something written down solid about what's happening in our region with mental health and addictions, and what some of the recommendations are that we could do moving forward. Can't get worse, right? If only get better.
And so just one, I know that there is gonna be events here, that's gonna be fairly huge, and it has to do with mental health
Yes.
as well.
Yes, and so actually, I'm not too sure which came first, the horse or the wagon. And we were kind of in talks of how do we collaborate with that, because I believe he's coming on the 3rd. We were talking about even getting the same speaker. But ours isn't necessarily open to the public. We just want people who deal with mental health and addiction, so that they can, and the speakers are just to speak to mental health and addiction workers, people who are from that, and some labor market kind of a scope, and then pull everybody aside and let's have the conversation and document some of the suggestions so it's different, if that makes sense. But that being said, as we're giving out invitations, everybody's going to have to get I'm calling it a swag bag, but really it's not. Well, maybe, but they'll get a package that has everybody else's flyers, all the other people who will support mental health and addictions, what other programs exist, who are people that you can talk to in the in-between, and that would be something great to put in there. There might be lots of people, if they're already in the region, to come to the mental health and addiction symposium, to come just a little bit down the road and go to another speaker that's more open to the public. Would be a great idea.
My second question goes back to the, how are you getting tourism coordinators buy-in for that $200 a year?
So the first year they get it free. The first year, once you buy in as a municipality, your tourism operators get it for free. And so we are developing based similar to what the other regions, because we're the only region in the north that's not using that structure, is when you get in, you have a list of services. One of the problems that our region has is none of them are on, very few of our tourism operators are online. We have people who are doing amazing events, but we're not having people staying for longer than the event, right? And we're not having that kind of collaboration working together. So once you are a member of the tourism, whatever it ends up being called, you get, one of the things we're working on is we have 3 different people who provide websites. You get a discount to build a website. Here are 3 local people that can help build it for you. The Regional Tourism Society covers advertising. And so if you have the High Prairie Gun Show, how do we, when we're doing the High Prairie Gun Show, which is one of the bigger tourism events, actually, when this study is kind of proven it's one of the bigger ones, especially in the winter time, how do we get them to stay and do some targeted Facebook ads so the people who are renting out fishing ice shacks, you know, all those other kind of feedbacks around, but it's also that connection piece, right? Where it works in northern regions because not one community has everything, but together we kind of have it all. And it's hard when you're running a business to stop and go look for some of those resources. But if you can phone somebody up or fire an email and say, hey, I'm doing this event and I need this, this, and this, who do you have?
Thank you. Councillor Shishin?
Actually, you just answered one of my questions, or my comments was about the website, and I see that being really huge and growing, you know, like you're saying, as things develop, or as it develops. And I just wanted to say, I think this is really huge. It's, you know, like you say, it's, we have events, a lot of the communities have events, but it's putting it out there, it's getting it out there, and it's not sharing, right? So really, really huge. One thing I wanted to ask, and I know it's in the year 2 to 5, can you touch on the Dark Sky program?
Sure.
That's something that's.
You would not believe, so it's kind of one of those things that everybody is talking about. There are people in cities who are wanting to go to places where there's very limited light pollution to look at the sky, and they're flocking. And it's shocking to me that, you know, we just do that, right? Like, we don't even have to, so when I heard about the Dark Sky program, and it's something that people have been asking for. On the other side of the lake, the Bird Observatory has a place that's kind of set up just to do that, and they're swamped, right? And so they want to come up north or wherever to look up into the sky and not have the light pollution, and we have a lot of sky, right? So how do we coordinate with that program to get people and doing those other different sorts of things all year round, right? And so that's one of those.
Excellent.
Yeah, and the
That's
Northern Lights too, it's
Very
interesting.
popular, yeah.
I'm the president of the museum in Canuso, but we get lots of people come see the bear, right? But where they're headed is to Alaska or Northwest Territories from all over the world because they think that's where you can see the Northern Lights. So that's been advertised somewhere. And then they go head up that way and then they talk about, they think it's Bella Twins bear or whatever. And then they talk about this big grizzly and they need to come see this grizzly. So they come see the grizzly, and then they're shocked that you guys have Northern Lights here. Yes, we do. But why are we not getting the huge, massive amounts of people coming to stay in the area to look at the Northern Lights? It's because we're not telling people we have Northern Lights. And as much as we think that that's common sense, that to other places they don't, right? We're talking to the lady in Sucker Creek who does bed and bannock. She had people from France come and stay because they want that experience and to stay for Indigenous or the powwow or whatever in the in-between. And if we marketed ourselves as a region to other places in a way that's done well, maybe we do all of a sudden get people who are coming here to see the Dark Night or the Northern Lights.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Hi again, Jennifer. So you rattled off that priority list from your strat plan really quickly. Do you have a leave behind or some sort of handout, or is it in, because it's not on my thing?
I think it is, but I can get that to
Oh,
you.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was thinking it should be on slide. Where's my copy off?
Is that the one
It's
that
the
was
last
given
one.
to us today? Okay.
Yeah, it's the last one. And like I said, you guys can have a chat as a group and kind of give Brian some feedback about how he would like to allot those points. And how the whole region kind of sets the priorities and the top regions are the ones. If you can't find it, I can give you a copy fairly easily.
It's just said differently than you did, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll read it. Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, I don't see any other questions.
Awesome. Well, you guys know how to get a hold of me. If you have any other questions or other concerns, kind of let Brian know and he can pass it on to me.
See you next one.
Yeah, we're glad you guys are hosting us. We'll be here. So thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you for coming down. All right, we'll move on to public delegations. I see we have a few that might want to speak, so I just want to remind everybody that council does want to hear any of your issues or concerns, but please keep it respectful. No attacks on staff or council or anything like that. Keep it to your issues. And just also be aware that it isn't a Q&A session that's going on today, because it wasn't, we know that that's not really fair to council, but we do want to hear your concerns, but you may not get answers tonight. So just wanted everybody to know that ahead of time so that they're aware. And with that, I'll open it up. If anybody would like to come and speak, you've got 5 minutes to come on up and speak.
There you go.
Yep, and anybody can come up. You got your 5 minutes.
Good day. Brian, what he just said was no need for that. That's number one. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
What he just said, that statement was no need for that. There's respectable people behind me, business people. I am here to present the Friendship Center as the president. Okay? I'm not here for anything else. So you didn't have to say that. Donna, thank you for bringing about the Friendship Center. I
Are
appreciate
you
that.
gonna speak about that too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Is this mic open?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanna thank my,
Maybe pull it closer to you a little bit.
is that good?
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay. I wanna thank our staff at the Friendship Center for the hard work and what they are trying to do. We are getting home healing. I just got this actually an hour and a half ago. I was planning to go to Edmonton. I have a couple of meetings with the ministers tomorrow, but I'm gonna do this tonight. I wanna make sure that you guys receive the message. Anyway, we are inviting, I think everybody knows the hockey player Tohu Flaherty. We invited him to come down and he accepted the invitation. He's gonna be in High Prairie October 1st. And me and the staff of the Friendship Center, we had a meeting with Seham and Rick Dumont at the arena this morning. And we looked at the facility where we're gonna set up the chairs and et cetera. And so we're gonna host about maybe 600 youth from grade 9 and up. And those youth is gonna be coming from all over the place. We have a list of Sucker Creek First Nation, Capulina First Nation, Pepper First Nation, Whitefish Lake First Nation, Settlement, East Prairie Settlement, Peavine Settlement, Gift Lake Settlement, High Prairie School Division, High Prairie High School, Prairie River Junior High, Prairie River Outreach, and Canusa School, and a Holy Catholic Region School, San Andrew. So we're gonna host all those folks coming to High Prairie, and the wife of Prairie, she's gonna have at another center. Of course, this is gonna be hosted at Gordon Buchanan Place, and at another side, the wife of Tohu Flaherty, she's gonna be talking to about maybe 40 young people, youth, regard abuse and bullying and how they could deal with bullying and stuff like that. And it's all such. I think something that's what we need in our area, and here we didn't have that before. I believe we hosted him about maybe 15, 16 years ago. He was in High Prairie, this gentleman, and he used to play with I believe Horse Lake, eh?
Yeah, he played Horse Lake when they kicked our ass, and of course for that Calgary. Yeah, he was over at the Peavine there, I think, but yeah, he was over there promoting his book and stuff like that. So it was a good session. Is that what he's kind of same thing again, promoting not necessarily the book, but just the like you said, the bullying and the abuse and all that.
Yeah.
Good message. People need to hear it.
Of
Yeah,
course,
it's a good
and,
person to
yes, and the RCMP, they're involved in that one, like Darren, he's involved. I know my son, they took him for a week to Regina, my little Muhammad's son, and he's gonna be 16 October, and he spent about a week up there. So he visits and they taught him about bullying and all that stuff, so he could come and tell the students and all that. So it was great, whatever it was done. And as all you know, my son Amir is ready to be a policeman very soon, so just about done. So we want to really do this about bullying and stuff in our region in here. So I'm asking for some funding, of course, to do this. And I did a past one with some folks with me before when our CO, she left, and I had some visitors. And we figured, sponsor number 1 would be about $2,500, sponsor number 2, $1,500, sponsor number 3, $1,000, sponsor number 4, $750, sponsor number 5, $500, sponsor number 6, $300, and sponsor number 7 is $100. So whatever the town feel wanna sponsor, that's the one. And of course, the town of High Prairie message name will be out there, and we'll have a big sign. Thank you to the town of High Prairie for their support. And that's what I am in here. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer. And in my opinion, as a father, will be a great for the kids and the youth, and especially, from grade 9 and up. I think they wanna start from 10 and up, but I thought, grade 9 would be the best. And especially what we're having right now with, the lady she just mentioned about mental and all that stuff. So we need to get that in the goal. So So everybody is involved in this one. And I'd like to see my town to be involved into it, because it would be great to see that. Would be one of the sponsors.
So it's August, October 2nd,
First,
October 1st.
yeah, and there will be at the arena,
Yeah,
yeah,
that weekend.
yeah, at the Ghana Center, yes. So, that's what it is. Any question?
Is there the opportunity to maybe meet a need in service in kind rather than a cash donation?
Service in kind, like, what do you mean, like,
The whole where it's being held, if we covered the cost of that.
yeah, the cost of that, I believe, it's $1,000. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's 1,000 for the facility rental. Yeah, I got it in here, yeah. Yeah, so. But, would be kind of bad, but, it's for the youth, and those youth, their parents, the one they coming from outside, they support our community, they shop in our town. And the kids, the one they are coming from the schools in High Prairie, they are taxpayers and they support the town, so it would be nice to see a different number than that. And I'm hoping to get some money tomorrow from Edmonton, so that would even help more, and I'm sure they will. Yeah, so, anything else, any questions?
Thank you, Barry, and good luck with the project, and as you know, we'll be discussing it later tonight.
Oh, for sure, yeah, no problem. Thank you, and thank you for listening to me. Have a good day. Bye.
We're over time here, so we're gonna be discussing it later on, is there some specific? Yeah.
Question for you, Mr. Jerkawi, what is the total cost of the budget for it to,
The total cost is, I believe, 17,250. Okay, event speakers, 10,500, meals and 750, and gift whatever 500, visitor limit 1,000, and giveaway 4,500. So yeah, 70,000. You're looking at just about 20,000, in my opinion. Yeah. But it's all for the kids, for the youth. And that's what we are here. That's what we're living for, and that's what we're gonna do. Thank you, councilors. Mayor, yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, anyone else? No other delegations? All right, thank you. So, with that, we'll move on to our fire chief's report. Notice that the chief isn't here tonight. But I guess if we have any questions, we can take them through agenda there. We'll start with, we need a motion on this first to begin. Councilor Dunn?
Council receives the fire chief's August 2024 report for information.
All right, is there any questions for the chief that we can relay on our next meeting? Seeing none, there's no questions, okay, all in favor? Oops, I didn't see, oh, you're in favor, okay, so that's carried. Moving on to our minutes from August 27th. Can we get a motion on this? Councilor Dunn?
The council approved the minutes from the August 27th, 2024 regular meeting of council as presented.
All right, any changes needed in these that people noted? Seeing none, all in favor? Councillor Shishin, I did see your hand again. No, I'm just,
Raise your seat up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Warm is higher.
all right. Is there any business arising from the minutes? All right, seeing none, moving on to new business, the 9th annual Halloween decorating contest. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Shishin,
The council approves to have the 9th annual Halloween decorating contest with the same format as 2023.
all right. Councillor Danaka,
I had asked, the CAO to bring this forward for this agenda, and the reason is that, it gives us a little bit more time to advertise on the website, the rules on, like, on the Facebook page and the South Beach News, to get people involved. I think in the past, it's always been bringing it forward late, like a couple weeks before Halloween and stuff. My other, question was, does council want to continue with this? That was sort of the other reason why I brought it forward was, does council want to continue? I'm not sure, Shanda, if you can remember the response we got last year. Was it normal? Was it less, more? And it may have been because we were late advertising as well.
So you're exactly right, we advertised a little late, so we didn't get as much of a response as we have in the past. So yeah, bringing this forward soon, we'll have more entries. for sure.
Okay. All right.
and as far as, should we have it, I think it's a great activity. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It gets some people involved. It gets people talking about all of the, wonderfully decorated homes in the community. I think it's a great activity. Councilor Danaka.
So, with the same format as 2023, so, that was first, second, third, scary, contemporary, traditional, whatever the categories were, et cetera, and advertising on the website, the town Facebook page, the sign, and in South Beach News.
So last year, because of the smaller amount of entries, we just did first, second, third.
Okay,
Before that, we were doing modern and traditional.
okay,
So, yeah, we moved to just the first, second, third
okay.
place.
So do we want to go, since we're advertising like a month ahead, or a month, 2 months, let's say, month and a half, do we want to go back to the modern traditional, or do we want to just leave it at 1, 2, 3? I'm kind of looking for council's input.
I think 1, 2, 3, because what's modern and what's traditional, I mean, 1, 2, 3, I think is fine.
Okay. All right.
And my wife has a plan, my wife has a plan for this year, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I hope I'm the corpse.
Okay, anything else before we vote on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to the Rural Municipalities of Alberta Fall Convention. Get a motion on this? Oh, Councilor Winkle.
Council approves the CAO and 1 council member to attend the RMA Fall Convention in Edmonton, November 4th to 7th, 2024.
Okay. Councilor Tanaka.
Is anybody available to attend? I mean, I'm not, but is there people that can attend?
I know I'm available.
Okay.
I don't know if that others are.
I'm available to attend. I was also, if you're done, I was gonna ask, if Mr. Winkle there is willing to make an amendment to his, motion. Very slight change, earlier that, I forget how you said it, it was CAO and one counselor. I was gonna say and or, just because, you know, we may not have a CAO in a month, you know, so that's why I said and or.
We legally are required to have a CAO by then, so.
Right, who might be an acting CAO, so just, that's why it's and or, so it's, you know.
Yeah, sure. Andrew, that's fine.
Okay, are we, anything else on that? No? All in favor? Carried. Moving on then to the grant application. Get a motion on this one? Go ahead, Councilor Dunn.
The council approved administration to submit a grant application under the FRIAA program. Free on.
Or four. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, any questions about this? Go ahead.
This is probably for, the fire chief, since he would probably know. And part of it's, like, it states that, where is it? The vegetation management, and it may reduce some of the forest areas in the community. I'm wondering if it's like the town limits, or is it just the town limits, or is it out of town as well?
It's usually a little bit of both,
Okay.
but we don't control outside of town, so we
Okay.
can't do anything outside of the town. But
Okay.
we might be able to lobby to get some of the outside of town areas done.
Okay,
I do know that's happened in other communities when they try to fire smart.
okay,
If we partner up there with Big Lakes County, they would, I'm sure that they would be supportive of it. But that's, you know, it's the world.
Okay. Anything else on this one? All in favor? Carried. Moving to 8.4, a Northern Friendship Center request.
I make a motion that the town covers the cost of the Gordon Buchanan Center rental in the amount of $882 for August 1st, as the Native Friendship Center brings Theo Fleury to town to have a symposium with the youth on healing, leadership, mental health, abuse, etc.
That's a long motion. You got it all, man?
I got the gist of it.
But the gist is probably good enough.
Okay, so we got it just to get us going and
Yeah.
and we can talk about it maybe. If
So,
we get one item to it, yeah.
Barry came and sort of spoke on the concept that they are putting forward with all of the other agencies, the schools, the First Nations, the settlements, etc. It looks like a full day, 10 till, I'm not sure, my agenda ends at 11:30, I don't know if it goes far past that, but anyway. I think it's a wonderful thing for the youth. I mean, I wish that it could almost be for all of the youth, but I understand they need to have sort of a cutoff range, so the reason that I brought this forward as well, as like I said, the next council meeting is the 22nd, so I think that they would like to know ahead of time if the facility is being covered or what we are sponsoring. So that's my motion, to sponsor the Gordon Buchanan Center.
Okay, and I had one question, because when that was asked, I believe I'd heard the cost was 2,000, but I heard you saying 850.
I have a invoice here from, from the Town of High Prairie, Gordon Buchanan Rec Facilities, ice surface pad, summer rental, total cost $882.
That's not right though.
Yeah, no, but I believe the ask was for 2,000 from Barry.
Yeah.
The cost is different than what the ask was.
Okay.
So, and that's what I was going to ask for a friendly amendment for Donna, because I truly believe in this program as well, and for the impact that it will have and benefit our youth and our children. So I was going to ask if others would join me, because I know we have over $2,000 left in our
Community grants.
community grants. I mean, considerably over that. So Donna, would you be willing to make a friendly amendment to say that we would give the program, I don't know what it's called, $2,000 rather than just meet the need or meet the cost of the arena?
Okay,
Just
I will,
before we go any further, I see that we had our new recreation manager here, and it would be good that if she could speak on this. And I don't know if everybody has been introduced.
No.
No? Okay. Well, maybe we can have CMOL come on up to the thing, and you can maybe talk about what was happened. Thanks for joining us tonight, and welcome to our council chambers.
Hello, everybody. I didn't want this to have to be amended later. The 882 is strictly for the ice, like the pad. That did not include the GBC auditorium, because at the time that wasn't mentioned when the original call came into. So there is an additional cost of about $450 to $550. I have my math, it's about $58 an hour. So that is also not including the 882, just a heads up.
Okay. Maybe stay there while we're finished discussing this, because you might have some more information on it. But we had a suggestion to move the funding up to $2,000 for this. And going back as a friendly amendment to Councillor Danaka's motion, we'll ask her what her thoughts are on that.
let me just strike that motion for 882 completely, and I will make a new motion that I make a motion that council supports the High Prairie Native Friendship Center mental health focus with Theo Fleury on October 1st to the amount of $2,000.
All right, that one's a little simpler to remember.
Yeah.
Bailey's like, but I have the other one ready.
I think Bailey was gonna be watching the recording. to
I
get all
definitely
that.
was.
Okay, so we have a new motion, and I guess what we usually do is everybody's got some of their piece of the pie. My question is, do we know what's left in that sponsorship budget? And that's pretty quick, because you didn't know this was coming. I doubt if you're prepared, but I know we had over $2,000 left. Yeah. okay.
Will we give it closer to 12,000 that we had left over in the grant?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, somewhere in there, but,
Yeah.
okay. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't thinking something different. Okay, so maybe we'll just go around, see who would, support that. We know Donna would, you would, I would.
So sorry, I was just gonna say that I'm gonna refrain from, just declare a conflict and refrain from discussion and voting on this matter.
And, okay, so we've got the five, that would be approximately $400 each, and go from there. Okay, all in favor? And that's carried. And, while you're there, welcome to the town.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if this is now a joint, I should say,
So, to my,
I'm sorry,
it's okay.
I can advertise this on our new recreation Facebook page. Okay, just wanna make sure.
Yeah, we can help promote it.
Yeah, I'm switching over Facebook to be a recreation Facebook, so that everything's included, not just the pool. So there's more info out there and more place.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, okay, I have a request here, let's take, 10 minutes. and have a break.